Now, there are lots of videos out there talking about how to sell your clothes on Depop. I figured let's just switch the roles here and I'm gonna tell you guys how to properly shop on Depop. Believe it or not, shopping on this app is a god process. Yeah, probably I'm a little crazy for having a whole comprehensive guide on just shopping on a single app. If this video helps even one person, I can die happy. Especially during this quarantine time, since we can't go out thrifting, I have had lots of experience shopping online, especially on Depop. Here is my guide on how to shop on Depop. So before you press that button on that app, first off, go and measure your whole body, or at least measure yourself according to what you are looking for. So, for example, if you are on the hunt for some good jeans, make sure you get all your bottom measurements, your waist, your hips, and all that good stuff. I know maybe not everyone just has a measuring tape handy on them. Another method is to get like a string, put it around your waist and your body, and then measure that string with a ruler. There's so many different people selling on this app. Every person has their own way of portraying sizes on this app, and just having your measurements handy is just the most accurate way to find something that's just in your size. Most sellers do provide measurements on their items when you're shopping around, but if they don't, I would highly recommend that you message them and ask. Really, it's better to just make sure that something fits before you buy it, because it'll be really sad if you end up buying something and it doesn't even fit. Now you are ready to start shopping on the app. So I'm gonna use my phone and show you guys an example of what I do when I am looking for something in particular. So right now I am actually on the hunt for some like wooden platform kind of sandals, like those clogs, and I don't have any, so I'm kind of on the hunt for that right now. So I'm going to use that as an example because I am currently looking for that. So typically when I am looking for a specific item, I'm gonna open the app, go to the search. So when you want to search for an item, you have to use a lot of different keywords. If I'm looking for these like wooden clogs, the terms I'll probably be using is wooden heels, platform sandals, wooden clogs, 1970 shoes. Like, you kind of have to use a wide variety of keywords so then you can kind of look all around, just because sellers kind of use different descriptions, and if you just search for one description you may not be able to see everything that's available to you. So for example, I'm just going to start with wooden heel, and then I'll just search for that. And then, this is very important, guys. There's these little sorting and filters at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do first, it automatically defaults to searching by relevance, but in order to get really good deals, and this is how I get items for very cheap, is that I change it to newly listed. So then you see like the most new items that people have just posted, and then therefore you have a better chance of getting a good deal right away, because usually the cheap items are bought really fast. And then next, what I'm gonna do is filter out the items. So for this particular item, it's kind of specific enough already, but you will find that when you search other items, you're gonna get like some random items that don't match. So I'm gonna filter this out, and I'm gonna go to category, women's wear, shoes. Then I also, just to save me some time, I'm going to search for my size. Now also with the sizing, I kind of go a little bit over my size and under, just because some people they mark something as one size, but then they'll say, oh, but it actually fits this size. So I'm gonna put size 7, 7.5, and 8. I'm actually a true size 8, kind of 7.5 with some sandals, so I'm just gonna kind of broaden my search a little bit and look between those sizes. Alright, and then also, if you have a budget in mind, you can also narrow down the price, which I use a lot. So my budget, I'm not really sure what I want to pay for shoes like this, but let's just say I'm gonna put up to $40. That might be a little cheap for some items, but you know, just to show you guys an example, we'll just do that. And then now's your time to just lay down and browse and spend some time just looking at some items. So let's just say that I am ready to buy something. So I'm just gonna use this pair of shoes as an example. I'm not gonna actually buy these, but let's just say, hey, I wanna buy these. So I'm gonna go to their profile first just to see if this is a legit seller, they have good reviews and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna click on the seller. Also really important, especially right now during quarantine, because people kind of started their shops and then they put it on hold because of quarantine. So make sure whoever you're buying from is like actually active on the app. So another thing that Depop shows you is when a seller is active. So for example, on this person's profile, it says they were active today. And what I would suggest is if you see a seller and it says they were active over a week ago, I would maybe send them a message before buying something from them, because that may mean that they're not really active on the app. Don't want to buy something and then it turns out either the seller isn't selling right now or they just kind of stopped using the app and you may never get your item. So just kind of a little tip there. And yeah, you can also like look at sellers' reviews. Another tip to see if someone's been active is see like what's the latest item that they've sold. So this person has sold like 9 days ago, so that's pretty recent. People have some good reviews on this seller, so this seller seems pretty promising. So I would probably, you know, make my purchase. And yeah, that was kind of a little walkthrough on how I typically buy a certain item. Now I'm just gonna kind of tell you guys some tips and tricks and other things about buying on this app. So after browsing around on this shop, you can kind of just start following sellers that you really like, and then you can build your feed. Another tip is to look through people's likes. That is a good way to find more shops that you can follow, and also just another good way to find really cool items. I'm just going to use my profile as an example. So let's go to my shop, and then I'm just going to go to likes, and you guys are welcome to shop my likes. Okay, so just kind of browsing, let's see. So let's click on this seller because I think this is a really cool piece. So I'm gonna go to their profile, and then you can just kind of like browse their shop, and I do this to all a bunch of different items that I see that I like. I always go to their shop, and yeah, it seems like they sell a lot of cool stuff. So, and then what I do is I look at their likes. Yeah, this is really helpful, especially if you find a shop that you really like their whole aesthetic. Chances are the stuff that they like are also gonna be things that you are interested in. So I'm gonna go to this person's likes and kind of just browse around on there too, and then I kind of just like spend a lot of time doing this on like, and I keep going and like down the rabbit hole of people's likes. But it really is another way that I find some really interesting pieces. It's kind of like looking through items that have been picked out for you already kind of thing. Also, when you are searching for items, you can put it to worldwide. So basically it'll show you shops from all over the world, not just from whatever country you're in. Even if you see an item from a seller that's not in your country, it doesn't hurt to ask to see if the seller maybe might be able to ship to you. Worst comes to worst, say no, or they'll ignore you and you can just move on and keep searching. Also, just if you are looking for a specific item and maybe you can't find it, it doesn't hurt to check more than once, like either multiple times a day or just every day or every week, just because new stuff pops up on Depop. So, you know, don't give up on your search. Okay, so here's just some general things that you guys should know about Depop. Read everything very carefully, read descriptions, read the shop policies, go through their profile, make sure everything's okay. And I'm not gonna touch too much on this. There are some like people on Depop and it's called dropshipping. So basically people try to sell just like really cheap stuff from China and they kind of jack up the prices, and these items you can just like find either from like Shein or AliExpress. Just be aware of what you're buying. You can always like reverse image search if you're unsure of like where an item came from. You can also just ask to see tags on an item. If a seller is not willing to show you the tag, that's kind of like a red flag, and the quality is not good, so don't fall into that trap. Now, while we're on the topic of sketchy sellers, let's talk about scams. As I said, there are some sketchy sellers out there. There are people that will try to scam you, especially if you are unfamiliar with the app. So, first off, guys, always pay through the app. Never pay outside the app. Don't use Venmo, don't use whatever other app. Paying outside the Depop app potentially puts you at risk. Pay through the app. If somebody doesn't want to do it, don't buy from them. There are a few scams I'll tell you guys about from what I've read. I can't tell you guys everything. There may be scams that I don't know about. So just be aware. One scam that I've seen, what happens is you buy an item and then before the item gets shipped, the seller will tell you,
"Hey, my PayPal's being weird,"
or
"Hey, my PayPal payment's on hold. I need you to confirm that you received the item so that I can get my money."
And they'll do this before they actually ship out the item and before you get any kind of shipping confirmation. Do not do this. Don't confirm anything until you physically received your item. The payment on hold is the seller's problem. That is not your problem. Just risky to do that because then once you've confirmed that you received the item, the seller can just never give the item to you. Then when you try to open a PayPal case, it will not be in your favor because it shows that you confirmed that you received the item. So do not do that. Make sure you have the item before you confirm anything. That will prevent you from getting scammed. So another scam that I have seen is that these accounts will sell like these really expensive items like an iPhone or like a Nintendo Switch, and then after you like buy the item, they'll just like delete their account or just like fall off the face of the earth. Just be aware of who you're buying from, check the reviews, make sure it's legit. This Nintendo Switch iPhone one is kind of a common one, so if you're planning on buying a Switch on Depop, I would maybe kind of think about it before doing that. Okay, sorry, really quick guys. Also, another scam people will do is sellers will tell you to pay through PayPal, friends and family. Yeah, don't do that either. That is also a scam that I forgot to mention. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys, I guess, the proper etiquette of buying on this app. If you are interested in, negotiating with someone, please do not lowball. As frustrating as it is to see something maybe super expensive or just something that you're not willing to pay for, it really just kind of wastes the seller's time if you just give them a really low price. It can be seen as rude, maybe even if you don't see it that way. What I've seen people say is that a good negotiation price is like 5 to 15% below the original price. Every seller is different, so don't like go straight for like 15%, but just do a reasonable offer. It can just save you frustration. Don't do like half off and free shipping. It's not possible, and it may be kind of hard to understand if you're just buying on this app, but as a seller myself, it really is hard to make a big profit off Depop. Now, I know there's a lot of items out there that maybe are just overly expensive that people sell for, but even so, Depop takes out fees, PayPal takes out fees, and just be aware that sellers kind of really would like to make their money. There are sellers out there that this is their full-time job, this is their only income. Doing like half off or something like that is not something that people like, so don't do that. Another thing is that don't be afraid to open a case. Chances are whatever happened to you has happened to someone else, so if you just do some searching on how to solve a problem, you can get help. So I've had some weird stuff happen to me and it gets taken care of in the end. Don't be intimidated by this app. Another just kind of thing, I guess, let you guys know is that when you start liking a lot of items, you will get kind of unsolicited messages from people. Now, I personally don't really mind these, but other people really hate these, so I just want to tell you guys so you're aware if you are new. A lot of sellers will just cold message, I guess, people saying, hey, I saw you're interested in this, come check out my shop, or I'll give you a deal, or something like that. You might get a lot of those if you end up liking a lot of stuff. I tend to just either ignore it or I just say, okay, thank you, but there's no harm in it. I've never been like pestered by someone. Sorry guys, one final thing that I forgot to mention is leave a review for your seller after you receive your item. So if you are satisfied with your purchase, leave a good review. It definitely helps a lot of shops out. Also, if you have a bad experience, I would suggest reaching out to the seller first and try to figure it out before you leave a bad review, because sometimes, you know, the issue can get solved. Reviews are really important to sellers, so yeah, leave a review. So to conclude, Depop is a really good app to start getting into buying secondhand or just find some really good vintage treasures. So yeah, that was it for my little guide of shopping on Depop. I really hope this helped someone. Let me know if you guys have any other questions, or even just leave your opinions about how you feel about the Depop app. Oh shoot, before I forget, you guys can follow my Depop. It's Noodle Finds. I'm not like a fully dedicated Depop seller. However, I do like to sell items from my closet whenever I get new items in. I try to just get rid of old stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, always be positive and be creative. See you next time. Bye!